Wars prequel, Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and we'll be chatting with Episode 2 producer Rick McCallum. But first, accomplished actor and self-confessed Star Wars fan Samuel L. Jackson on the path that led him to become Jedi Knight Mace Windu in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace.
I pretty much campaigned to be in this movie in an interesting kind of way. I knew he was shooting it, and, you know, folks ask you a lot, who are some of the directors that you haven't worked with, that you want to work with, and I generally don't, think about things like that. I just take the job that comes along, or whoever's attached to it. But I knew he was doing this film, so I was doing this interview show in London, and I said George Lucas, and the guy's like, really? I was like, yeah, well, he's doing this new Star Wars movie, and I'd really like to be in it, And apparently somebody told him. So by the time I got back to Vallejo, where I was shooting Sphere, he'd gotten that information, and I was invited over to the ranch to see if I was serious about doing this. I was like, yeah, So I was pretty much willing to be a stormtrooper, just as long as I knew I was in the movie. I didn't care if anybody else knew. I just wanted to do it, and I was fortunate enough that he actually created this particular character for me to do. So I didn't find that out actually until I got to London last time. Once they started fitting Jedi robes on me, I was like, hey, who is this guy? Oh, this is gonna be cool. Oh, okay, awesome. So there's no way I was not gonna do it.
But how did Sam feel about working with the man behind the legend of Star Wars, George Lucas?
I think George is one of the most animated and interesting people, that I've met. I mean, I've had some great conversations with him. I mean, I've had dinner with him a few times and been around him enough. And I've had laughs with him, and he's funny, he's insightful. He has a lot of information about, the technical aspect of what's going on. I've seen him overjoyed at, a technical accomplishment, like when he was talking about the water in Perfect Storm. He was like so overjoyed that, they finally got water right in DGI. And it was, like watching a kid discover the fact that he could actually, count or tie his shoes. And then you think of George as having all this technical acumen because of all the things that he's done and all the things that they've accomplished at ILM. But I remember going to his house to watch the Star Wars trailer the first time, and we're in his screening room. And he actually couldn't get his screening room to work. And it was almost like Jet had to come over and say, no, Dad, you do it like this. And Jet manipulated some stuff, and all of a sudden it was working. So you kind of go, oh, so he's just like me. So when I have computer problems, I have to call my daughter. So he had to call in Jet, to get his screening room to work. And it's like, this is George Lucas. He can't work his screening room. This is so cool. He never actually told me any of the qualities Mace had. He never said he's from here, he's from there, he's this, he's that. He's allowed me to totally create this character and fill him out in any way that I've seen fit. I guess he trusts what I bring to this character. If I'm doing something wrong, I'm sure he would tell me, but generally he has allowed me to totally create this guy. It's always wonderful to know that someone has that level of faith in you and what you can do, and it allows me the freedom to create, but it also, like most kids who want to please their teacher or their parents, you want to do the best that you can. I asked for this job, and I think it's incumbent upon me to come to this job with all the professionalism and all the preparedness that I can bring. And I work as hard at this as I do any drama. I think this deserves all my attention. The audience deserves the best that they can get from us in doing these jobs, and I want to be taken seriously about this job. It's as important as any job that I've ever had.
So how does Sam feel about his character of Jedi Master Mace Windu?
I usually describe Mace as sort of a voice of reason. He thinks before he speaks. He's pretty calculating, mostly even-tempered. He's not to be trifled with. He knows that the war is coming. I think he has a pretty good idea of who's behind it, but nobody's willing to just step up right now and say exactly who the bad guy is. But he's being very cautious and starting to get pretty aggressive about what they need to do to participate in it or to nip this thing in the bud. He seems to be the second most powerful Jedi on that council, next to Yoda. They spend a lot of time talking with each other. Interestingly enough, in this episode, you actually see them just kind of having conversations and not in formal meetings all the time where, we speak like Jedi speak and that whole thing. We have very conversational type discourses. And I guess having been in service with each other for a very long time, he's also a student. Yoda is definitely master, even though he's referred to as master himself. Everyone has a secondary position to Yoda in some way. We're all underlings in that way because we aren't as intuitive, we aren't as strong mentally, we aren't as strong spiritually. I mean, Yoda is incorruptible. He's kind of unfathomable in a lot of ways. But spiritually, he and Yoda are kind of in tune. That's why they can talk to each other, and a lot of times, almost finish each other's sentences in interesting kinds of ways. But Yoda is definitely the stronger and smarter and more spiritual of the two. We're basically protectors of the universe. We kind of oversee and watch over things. We're not soldiers. When things get out of hand, we will go into action, but we're not there to be bodyguards. Sometimes we do that, but we're not particularly the armed forces of the universe. We're people who try and make sure that harmony is maintained, that some sense of protocol is observed by different factors in the universe. You have to be kind of forthright. You have to have some sense of intuitiveness. A person that's pretty much not prone to do wrong or to even have a proclivity to go in the wrong direction. And hopefully you find those people young enough that they haven't had an opportunity to let the bad things in their lives affect them in an adverse way so that they can remember them and kind of go to the dark side. Apparently we make mistakes.
One mistake Sam was keen to avoid was falling victim to their Jedi fashion for strange clothes and some very bizarre hairstyles.
I can't explain their hair, man. I mean, it's a personal choice. I mean, there's certain things that, the only Jedi dress code we have is their robe. Everybody wears slightly different things under it or a slightly different version of it. And, I mean, there are no, Jedi hair codes, apparently. I mean, in the last one, there was a Jedi that looked like a Lhasa Apso. I don't know if you saw him or noticed him, but, there's a guy who's just totally like a sheepdog over there. It's like, well, we used to refer to him as the Lhasa Apso, because when we had lunch, they used to curl his face so he could eat. They'd curl his hair out of his way. And then there was another guy that looked kind of like calamari, So there's no standard hairstyle, It's all about what's inside you.